The real history of the ninja masters of espionage and deception. In the dead of night, a shadow moves silently across the rooftops of feudal Japan. With supernatural agility, the black-clad warrior runs up walls, disappears in puffs of smoke, and hurls razor-sharp throwing stars with deadly accuracy. This is the ninja we know from Hollywood, but it's almost entirely wrong. The real story of Japan's legendary shadow warriors is far more fascinating than any movie has portrayed. These weren't supernatural assassins with magical powers. They were something far more intriguing. History's first professional spies. Picture this. It's 1562, and the daimyo of Iga province receives an urgent message. His trusted shinobi has returned from a dangerous mission with critical intelligence. The agent doesn't wear black pajamas or carry a sword on his back. Instead, he's dressed as a humble merchant, having spent weeks gathering information while posing as a traveling trader. This was the true art of ninjutsu, the ability to hide in plain sight. The word ninja itself comes from the characters nin, ren, meaning stealth or endurance, and ja, ze, meaning person. They were masters of disguise and deception, trained in the art of gathering intelligence rather than supernatural powers. Their real strength lay not in magical abilities, but in something far more powerful: information. Let's shatter some of Hollywood's biggest ninja myths. First, that iconic black costume? It never existed. Real ninja dressed to blend in, not stand out. The black-clad ninja image comes from kabuki theater, where stagehands dressed in black were considered invisible by theatrical convention. When kabuki played showed ninja, they dressed these stagehands as the characters, and a myth was born. But if they weren't wearing black suits, what did real ninja wear? Whatever helped them blend into their environment. A ninja might dress as a farmer, merchant, priest, or even a geisha. The key was to look so ordinary that no one would give them a second glance. This wasn't just about clothing. It was about becoming the role completely. Ninja spent years learning to mimic the mannerisms and speech patterns of different social classes. Take the story of Mitsuhide's downfall in 1582. Before the famous betrayal at Honnoji Temple, it was ninja who discovered his plot against Oda Nobunaga. They did this not through dramatic nighttime infiltrations, but by posing as servants and merchants, gathering whispered conversations, and observing unusual troop movements. This was real ninjutsu in action, patient, methodical, and deadly effective. The training of a ninja began in childhood, but it wasn't what you might expect. Yes, they learned martial arts, but more importantly, they studied psychology, chemistry, geography, and acting. A ninja needed to understand how people think, how to make smoke bombs from common materials, how to navigate by the stars, and how to become anyone they needed to be. One of the most famous ninja manuals, the Bansen Shukai, devotes more pages to weather forecasting and geography than it does to combat techniques. Why? Because knowing when fog would roll in or where a mountain pass lay could mean the difference between life and death on a mission. The real ninja were master planners who left nothing to chance. Consider the legendary ninja Hattori Hanzo. While popular culture remembers him as a master swordsman, his greatest victories came through careful planning and intelligence gathering. When he helped the future shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu escape through enemy territory, it wasn't through pitched battles, but through careful route planning and a network of safe houses that he had established years before. The tools of the ninja trade reflect this reality. Yes, they had shuriken, throwing stars, but these weren't primarily weapons. They were distractions, used to create confusion during an escape. Their most important tools were things like the kagibukuro, a bag of various lockpicks, the sekihitsu, a hollow bamboo tube for breathing underwater, and the mizugumo, water-walking shoes for crossing moats. Perhaps most fascinating were the ninjas' communication methods. They developed complex systems of coded messages hidden in seemingly innocent items. A particular arrangement of agricultural tools in a field might signal danger. A specific pattern of kimono hanging on a clothesline could indicate troop movements. Even the position of roof tiles could convey messages to those who knew how to read them. We're only beginning to uncover the true depths of ninja ingenuity. Recent historical research has revealed that ninja clans maintained extensive networks of informants and developed sophisticated codes that rivaled modern cryptography. They were medieval Japan's equivalent of today's intelligence agencies, complete with safe houses, dead drops, and cover identities. Consider the famous ninja houses with their secret passages and hidden rooms. While Hollywood portrays these as exotic lairs, they were actually carefully designed intelligence hubs. Hidden compartments weren't for storing weapons, but for concealing documents. Escape routes weren't for dramatic getaways, but for protecting valuable information and assets if a safe house was compromised. The real ninja left us something far more valuable than legends. They left us their training manuals. These densely packed volumes reveal a world of practical espionage that would impress even modern intelligence agencies. Let's dive into what it really took to become a shadow warrior. One of the most fascinating aspects of ninja training was the art of observation. The Ninpidin manual describes an exercise where students had to enter a room briefly, then recall every detail, from the number of ceiling beams to the pattern on the tatami mats. This wasn't about developing supernatural powers. It was about training the mind to notice everything. Take the story of the ninja who infiltrated Inabayama Castle in 1573. He didn't scale the walls with magical powers. Instead, he spent weeks posing as a carpenter, carefully observing the castle's routine. He noted when the guards changed shifts, which servants entered which areas, and most importantly, where the security was weakest. This methodical observation led to one of the most successful castle infiltrations in Japanese history. The ninjas' chemical knowledge was equally impressive. They created sophisticated smoke bombs using natural ingredients like pine resin and saltpeter. These weren't just for dramatic escapes. They were carefully designed tools with specific purposes. Some created thick smoke for cover. Others produced colors to signal allies, and some even contained irritants to disable pursuers. But perhaps their most remarkable achievement was their understanding of psychology. The Bansen Shukai dedicates entire sections to what we'd now call social engineering. Ninja were taught to read body language, manipulate conversations, and understand human behavior patterns. They knew that the best way to get information wasn't through torture or threats, but through carefully cultivated relationships. Consider the technique of Goten Jutsu, the art of hiding. Hollywood shows ninja disappearing in smoke bombs, but the real technique was far more subtle. It involved 5 methods of concealment using the elements: earth, hiding in terrain; water, underwater breathing; fire, using light and shadow; wind, understanding sound carry; and wood, blending with vegetation. Each required intimate knowledge of natural phenomena and human perception. One particularly fascinating account comes from the siege of Osaka Castle in 1615. Tokugawa's ninja agents didn't need to infiltrate the castle. They had already been there for months, posing as servants, traders, and even soldiers. Their intelligence about the castle's defenses and supplies proved crucial to the siege's outcome. This wasn't glamorous work. It involved months of maintaining cover identities while methodically gathering seemingly trivial details. The ninjas' disguise techniques were far more sophisticated than simply changing clothes. They studied regional dialects, local customs, and trade-specific knowledge. A ninja posing as a merchant needed to know current prices, trade routes, and business customs. One posing as a priest needed to know religious texts and ceremonies. The depth of their preparation would impress modern method actors. Their code systems were equally sophisticated. The ninja developed methods of hiding messages in seemingly innocent items. A broken branch, a specific arrangement of stones, or the position of a lantern could convey complex messages. They even developed a method of writing using subtle variations in calligraphy that could hide messages in ordinary-looking letters. Let's talk about those famous ninja weapons. While they did use specialized tools, most were designed for utility rather than combat. The kunai, often portrayed as a throwing knife, was actually a multi-purpose tool more similar to a trowel. It could be used for digging, prying, or as a climbing aid. The ninja's preference was always to avoid combat rather than seek it. One of the most misunderstood aspects of ninja training was the concept of kuji-kiri, the 9 hand gestures often portrayed as magical signs. In reality, these were mnemonic devices used to focus the mind and recall specific principles or techniques. Each gesture corresponded to a different aspect of training, from heightened awareness to calm under pressure. The ninja's information-gathering techniques would be familiar to modern intelligence agents. They practiced what we now call social engineering, gaining information through careful manipulation of human psychology. They understood that people reveal more to those they trust, so they invested heavily in building credible cover identities. Consider their use of women as agents, something rarely depicted in popular media. Female ninja, known as kunoichi, were often more effective than their male counterparts. They could access places and information that would be impossible for men to reach, particularly in the gender-segregated society of feudal Japan. Some of the most successful intelligence operations were run by kunoichi operating within the domestic staff of important households. So how did these medieval intelligence specialists transform into the black-clad superhuman assassins we see in movies? The transformation began during Japan's peaceful Edo period, when actual ninja were no longer needed. As their real skills faded into history, they became the stuff of legend. Stories exaggerated their abilities, turning practical techniques into supernatural powers. But here's what's truly fascinating. Many of the ninjas' actual techniques were far ahead of their time. Their methods of gathering and analyzing information would be familiar to any modern intelligence agency. Their understanding of psychology and social manipulation parallels contemporary social engineering. Consider their approach to tradecraft. The ninja understood that the best cover story is one that provides a natural reason for being somewhere. A merchant has reason to travel and ask questions. A priest can move between social classes without suspicion. A servant is often invisible to their masters, free to observe while being ignored. These same principles guide modern intelligence operations. The ninja's emphasis on preparation and intelligence gathering over direct action remains a cornerstone of modern special operations. Their understanding that information is more valuable than force, that prevention is better than confrontation, and that the best operation is one that no one knows happened. These insights are as valid today as they were centuries ago. But perhaps their most enduring legacy is their understanding of human nature. The ninja knew that people see what they expect to see and hear what they want to hear. They understood that the best way to keep a secret is to make sure no one knows there's a secret to keep. These psychological insights remain fundamental to modern espionage. The next time you see a movie ninja running up walls or vanishing in smoke, remember that the real ninja would have considered such displays a failure. Their greatest victories were the ones that no one ever knew about. Their most successful missions, the ones that appeared to be nothing more than ordinary events. In the end, the real ninja weren't superhuman. They were something far more remarkable. They were masters of understanding human nature, experts at turning ordinary situations to their advantage, and pioneers of techniques that would shape the future of intelligence gathering. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the real history of the ninja. If you'd like to explore more fascinating aspects of Japanese history and culture, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. We have many more intriguing stories to share about Japan's rich historical heritage. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most incredible stories are the true ones.